Hey, welcome to Epilogue. In this episode, I'm going to sit down with Russell Johnson. We just started a pause series on Sunday morning, and we're going to go a little deeper on the story of Mary and Martha and what it means for our lives. So I hope you enjoyed this episode. All right, man. Russell, here we are again. It's been, like over a month since we've done the podcast.
Well, we've done the podcast.
I meant you and I.
Yeah, me and you. Yeah,
because we got kicked off for a little while by Jason and a bunch of other folks. And,
they come here having a good time, laughing, and
just took over. Had way more fun, and but it's back to you and me.
It's me and you. We're gonna talk some Bible, and
that's right. We have fun, but it's
I think everyone else maybe enjoys it.
Yeah. Well,
maybe not as much fun as...
We don't have as many cool sound effects and stuff like that, but it's all right.
Yeah, we can work on it.
We'll work on it. All right, so before we sat down, we were having a really riveting conversation.
Riveting.
I just found out something about Russell, like 2 things in the last 30 minutes I never knew about you.
Yeah.
One, we share a pretty heightened fear of needles.
Yes.
Yeah.
Not a needle fan.
Neither of us are needle fans, specifically of the shot or blood drawing variety.
That's right.
Needles. Really bad experiences.
I don't know if I've had bad experiences. I just don't like them, and there's a good possibility that I could pass out.
Yeah. But you did clarify you've never passed out.
Never passed out. I just could feel it
coming on
the cusp.
Yeah. It's not a good feeling. I've passed out many times getting shots or blood drawn. So I don't think you and I should ever go get a vaccination or anything together.
No,
that's not a good idea.
No,
so, but I would like to go to an olive bar with you because I learned you like olives.
I do like olives
a lot, and I like
HEB
olives a lot.
has that olive bar.
They do. Let's go.
Yeah, I like green olives, black olives, and what was the other one again?
Kalamata.
I don't know if I'm going to remember that, but I do like it.
Man, they're good. And your ranking is?
Kalamata
first.
Black olive.
Okay.
Green olive with the pimento in it.
With pimento?
Yeah, I do like them like that.
You like garlic stuffed olives? That's my favorite.
And I like jalapeno stuffed olives.
Those are good too.
Yes. Those big giant green ones with jalapeno slice in it.
Yeah.
Money.
I just tried a lemon peel stuffed olive recently, and that was not my favorite. But
I'm having a hard time seeing that one.
Yeah,
but I would try it because I like olives that much.
Yeah. Man, let's go eat olives sometime. If you have
we get our blood drawn.
No. If you finish a jar of olives, are you down in the olive juice in the jar afterwards?
Probably not.
Okay. I totally am.
We do keep the pickle juice for pickle pops.
Mm-hmm. That sounds good.
Yeah, we make pickle pops.
I'd eat a pickle pop.
Mainly my kids eat the pickle pops, but they like to keep it.
Yeah. If you guys ever want to make an olive pop, I'll eat that.
Olive pop, that's worth a shot.
It's olive pops.
Yeah.
I think that's like a brand we could start.
Ooh.
Yeah. Anyway.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm going to interject and say it's not worth a shot. Don't do an olive pop. Sounds disgusting.
Jason.
We might try it.
Yeah. Jason, we're gonna bring a pop in and call it a pickle pop, and it's really going to be an olive pop. We're going to trick you.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, okay.
I won't be tricked because I still have a nose.
I won't be tricked.
I can smell the smell of olives, so I just won't eat it.
Man.
Yeah, you don't know what you're missing.
Yeah.
Okay.
I love olives. Anyway, that takes us right into what we want to talk about today.
Mary and Martha. There's not a doubt in my mind as Martha was making preparation, she made a tapenade, which is a spread of finely diced olives.
Yeah. Yes.
That goes on things like a muffaletta.
Yep.
So if Martha was making something that needed a tapenade, she probably went above and beyond and diced up some nice olives.
She may have. She at least had olive oil.
For sure. See? I mean, that goes right into our passage.
It does. I mean, just a segue right into it, man. So I feel
you're welcome.
Yeah, thank you. Thanks for that, man. All right, so Sunday, just a few days ago, we kicked off our pause series.
Yep.
Strong start talking about Mary and Martha, and even before that, just talking about the need for it, and I resonate with that. And so, talk a little bit more about why this series and why now.
Yeah, I think for most of us, the Christmas season is really fast and furious, just because of there's the end of year, end of semester parties. There is traveling, there's family, there's buying gifts, making sure you got everybody accounted for. Yeah, all of those things that are just require a lot of time and energy,
Yeah,
mentally, emotionally. And so, you work through all of that and just thinking, hey, you get to January. Um, when you think about resolutions, hitting the ground running, school starting, you're not careful, you could just go right back into
yeah,
it. So for us
yep.
to say, hey, let's just think and take a pause
Mhm.
and make sure we're spending time with Jesus, slowing down a little bit. So
Yeah.
yeah.
Yeah. I like it. One of my favorite things you said on Sunday was like, "Hey, a lot of this, just going to sound like all we're asking is for you to have a quiet time." And in
Yeah.
some ways, that's true.
Yeah.
And it's
Yeah.
and like, yeah, you're right, man. Because we get in the holiday season. You get, I know at least for me, traveling on the road. It's a change in my rhythm, which often changes my rhythm of time with God. And
Yep.
I think everybody can relate to that to some degree or another. And then we just kind of are jolted coming back. I mean, school started for a lot of people yesterday, for some people today, and
Yep.
so we're in it. We're in the grind now, and it's
Here it
like,
is. Yeah.
whoa, that snuck up, and it snuck up quick, and
Yeah.
and how do we handle it? And so, yeah, appreciate the timing of this. I know personally, and hope it's yeah, man. I hope it really speaks to our church family in some powerful ways. So.
Yeah.
Yeah, so Sunday we dove into Luke chapter 10. We're talking about Martha and Mary and how Martha is distracted with all her preparations. That's her she's serving in all these ways. Or
Yep.
I forget how you worded it. It was like her much service maybe was
Yeah.
the phrase you used, and then and she's like, I mean, Mary's sitting at the Lord's feet listening to his words, and she's like, "Man, Jesus, like, don't you care
Hmm.
that she's not helping me? Like, can you tell her to come help me?" Like, and he's like, "Hey, you're worried about a lot of things. You're bothered about many things, but one thing is necessary, and she's chosen the good part, which
Yeah.
won't be taken from her." And so, you unpack that beautifully, and I think sometimes we talk about this story and Martha kind of gets a bad rap, right?
Yeah.
Like, we're kind of down on Martha, like, man, yeah, she, yeah, how dare she do this? But
Yeah.
is that really the case here? I mean, like, is Martha that bad, or is this? I mean, let's talk about Martha a little bit.
Yeah. I mean, it's obvious in the passage that we're comparing and contrasting the two ladies, and
Yeah.
Jesus is highlighting the actions of Mary. Of course, Martha sets him up to do that. Yeah, I don't think the issue is what Martha's doing. I think the issue is how much she's doing.
Yeah, that's
And
good.
and so I mean,
All her preparations,
yeah,
much service. Yeah,
that's right. So
yeah.
it's you have a lot of distractions with all that you're
Mhm.
doing. And so there's just this principle that I think Chad's going to get at in a couple of weeks when
Mhm.
he preaches, which is, anything worth doing is worth doing simply at
Yeah.
times. And if we try to do everything at 100% with full excellence, then it's just going to be really hard. Number one, to maintain that, and the excellence will become a distraction rather
Yeah.
than actually accomplishing what we want to do.
Yeah.
And I think that's what's happened here. I think Martha is doing exactly what culture would have her to do, um, which is be hospitable,
Yeah.
have a meal, have these people in her home, and
Yeah.
I just think it was more than just, hey, let's have a meal. It was we're going to have a feast,
Yeah. Yeah.
and just bit off more than she could chew.
Yeah. And I think, you said it like just even culturally and probably even more so in the time she lived in, but like you've been to Eastern cultures where, man, whether it's the Middle East or Central Asia, wherever, it's like you've seen this in action. I've seen this in
Absolutely.
action where it's like, man, it's a feast, man. And
Yes.
it's like you're in there. I've been in houses where it's like a birthday party and the person whose birthday it's for is not in the room because they're working in the other room to bring the food out
Mm.
and make sure everybody else is having a good time. And it's like, don't you like, it's your birthday. Like, don't
Come
you,
hang out.
you
Yeah.
know, but it's like that particularly in we get it some here with hospitality and,
Yeah.
but like, especially in that culture and probably even more so in their time, this
Yeah.
was what you did, man. You
All
rolled
out.
out the red carpet. You chopped up the best olives to make that tapenade. It's like you pulled out the best bottle of olive oil or best bottles of wine. Man,
Yeah.
you're just serving
Yeah.
constantly, even if it's your birthday, and
Yeah.
she's like, she needs to help me. It's just
Yeah.
what we do,
Yeah.
So,
Yeah. So for me, when I think about it, I think it's really fair to look at Martha and just say, hey, just what she's doing is a really good thing.
yeah.
And it's appropriate. It's just, we got to make sure that the times that it needs to be done simply, we do things simply. And I think that can be a call for all kinds of things. And when we volunteer, I know when in the sermon, I primarily talked about the distractions of media and phones and all of that, which is, appropriate. But there are times that, we volunteer, and in our volunteering, we end up
We
giving
overdo it. Yeah.
above and beyond for whatever that is, right? That could be, our kids,
Yeah.
stuff at school or
Yeah.
whatnot, and
Sports, whatever it is.
Yeah.
We do musical theater. Our kids love that. So we're
Yep.
volunteering for that. Yeah. It's a lot. So,
But yeah, those things aren't bad. We
Mhm.
just got to make sure that they don't take all of our thoughts and
Yeah.
all of our time and distract us from the one good thing.
Yeah.
So
yeah. Cause if we're not careful, they push our time with Jesus aside. They take the place of it. That takes a back seat to it. And that's what can happen. So yeah,
no doubt.
that's good. I love the reference to the what was it, the chicken mold butter, like it's butter made in the shape of a chicken.
Yeah.
Yeah, and it's like, yeah, maybe
Maybe not.
maybe
Yeah.
not. Yeah,
Yeah.
that's a little above and beyond. I know some people love that, but I guess maybe, but
Yeah. And
yeah.
it's a part of my childhood. I'm thankful for it, but I can also remember my aunt being pretty stressed out.
Yeah, about the butter.
Well, and just about the entire
Yeah.
event. And, that was one extra thing that I'm not really sure took it. I mean, it took it to the next level, but was it necessary?
Wasn't necessary. Yeah.
And sometimes those extra additions are really neat and they're good. And when we have the opportunity to do it, it's got to make sure we know when is that appropriate.
Yep.
So
yeah, that's cool. I actually, one of the things, like, I know over Christmas we're with my family, and one of the things I've always appreciated about my mom is she plans ahead, and so she cooks a lot of things, freezes some of it, and because when we all get there, she wants to hang out with us, and so then she's not just in the kitchen constantly. And so I have that analogy in my head sometimes thinking about this of like she wants the good part. I know that in here the good part is time with Jesus, but like when we're all together, she wants the good part of time with her family, right? And like it's and so she plans ahead. She's not, whatever. So I think I know for me, I don't want to crowd out my relationship with Christ. With all these other things that I get distracted with. So good reminder. You talked about Sunday. The distractions of media, of whether it's screen time, our phones in particular, streaming services, whatever it is. And, I think you were careful to say it, but you were like, hey, look, phones, screen time, like our devices aren't the devil, but we
Yeah.
just got to be careful. And it's the same principle, like
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah.
just not overindulging, not going above and beyond with them, using them for the tools that they are.
Yeah.
So I don't know if there's anything else you want to say on that, but I mean, I think that's something in our lives that is one of the biggest distractions. I know for me personally, but
Yeah. There's probably there's guardrails on this
Mhm.
deal where you can make electronics and media and all of these things the enemy, the devil,
Right.
and whatnot, and then there's the other guardrail that is just, hey, we have freedom and we
Mhm.
can. And I think there's a weird deal that says, man, if I throw out my phone and I don't own a TV and I'm completely unplugged, and there's a legalism and a spiritual eliteness that can
Mhm.
come from, and I don't do any of those
Yeah.
things. And I think we got to be careful about that.
Yeah.
And then in the same breath to think, if I'm not aware of how the enemy can use
Mhm.
all of these things, then that's just as dangerous. And
Yeah.
so, the thought is it'd just be really easy just to tell everybody to go throw your phone away and we'll all get a flip phone and be
Yeah.
fine. But
Sometimes I feel like that'd be nice. I'll be
Yeah,
honest, but
yeah.
but I hear you.
yeah, I just think that just becomes, it doesn't really address an
Yeah.
issue. And the issue is, how are we using our time? What's the distraction?
Mhm.
And I just think as long as we're aware,
Yeah.
for me, I put the pause wallpaper on my phone, and it's just good to think, man, for the next few weeks, as I look at it, I pick up my
Mhm.
phone and I see that immediately. I'm like, yeah, what am I fixing to do here? Is this
Yeah.
intentional, or am I fixing to just scroll or watch something that I don't have to watch right now?
Yeah.
And so I think as long as those things are in our mind, that's really the point of it.
Yeah. Yeah.
Now I'll also say, I don't, I'm not naive enough to think that the enemy doesn't use electronics and media and social media and all that stuff. Like
Oh,
mean,
yeah.
that's absolutely true.
Absolutely. Yeah.
But there's just got to be a balance within how we use these things, and we're aware of it. And
Yeah.
I don't know. It's a tricky deal. I don't want to walk around telling everybody to go back and we're going to be Amish or
Yeah.
something. It's just,
We're gonna have a hammer out in the foyer to like
yeah,
smash all your
yeah.
phones afterwards.
Yeah, it's
Yeah,
like
yeah.
burning CDs when
Yeah,
I was in youth
exactly.
group. We've just got to be careful with
Yeah.
some of that, because that doesn't really address the heart of it.
Yeah. Yeah.
But I do believe for some people the right answer is no social
Mhm.
media, or I need a phone that can be locked in certain places.
Yeah.
And that, if that's the answer, that's the answer.
Yep. Yeah.
Or sometimes we need to fast from certain
Mhm.
things. So I just hope people can see the idea of, let's evaluate where I'm using it, and
Yeah.
let's try to take some time away from it for the next few weeks,
Mhm.
and hopefully build some rhythms of, hey, I can do this less.
Yeah.
And it's good.
Yeah. Yeah. I think that's key. It's you made the distinction too, just to kind of circle back to one thing you said. There's the enemy can use these obviously to
Yes.
lure us into sin. I mean, the pornography and sexual
Absolutely.
exploitation, all that stuff is um, primarily spread through devices, right?
Yeah.
And so, and you made the point Sunday that when you're talking about pause, like if it's a sin issue, it's time to just stop. Like,
Yeah.
and that's where like it's important to clarify. Like the pause thing is just about building different rhythms in our lives.
That's right.
If we're in an area of sin, it's time to stop. It's time to get
Yeah.
help. That's. But yeah, I think what you're hitting on is the difference between a practice versus performance issue. Like the performance being legalism, the
Mm.
practice, and that's what we're talking about a lot here is spiritual disciplines, right? Like
Yeah.
you introduced that concept. We're going to talk about more of it this coming week and next 2 weeks, and spiritual disciplines are meant to help us just get in a practice and rhythm of some of the walking in some of the ways Jesus walked in, right?
Yeah.
It's not meant to be legalistic to where, yeah, I'm like beating myself up if I if I pick up my phone when I'm trying to spend less time. Like I think that's the difference. And
Yeah.
and knowing your heart, knowing your own your own guardrails. Like I know for me, I got a social media, 6 or 7 years ago, and it was because like I was just getting angry with all the. I mean, to be honest, I was getting angry with just all the political arguments and whatever, and I was like, I just can't. Heather started to notice it in me and was like,
Yeah.
and yet, like, you just get like, you're different once you've been on social media. I'm like, I know. And so I got off, and man, that's brought some freedom in my life. But
Yeah.
that doesn't mean everybody needs to get off social media, right?
Yeah.
And so I think that's a lot of what you're talking about. But
Yeah. No doubt.
yeah, I will say, like, this whole series for me personally, you talked about streaming on Sunday and realized, like, man, I'm a sucker for deals. And so I've got Hulu for like a 99 cents a month. I think we had a max deal where it's like $2.99 a month. And I'm like, yes. And like, so I looked at what streaming services we have, and I'm like, this is too much. Like, it's too much. And so like I went through, just canceled all our streaming services, and we're going to try that out. I mean, that doesn't mean we're never going to watch TV.
Sure.
But it means we're going to watch it less. And so I think that's the kind of thing where this is helpful. Like, hey, let's
just evaluate.
Let's just lessen this in our lives. And instead of unwinding, like, by watching TV, let's play a game, and or whatever. And just try some things that draw us closer as a family, and leave some space in our lives, and press the pause button. So,
a lot of these disciplines, it's what's interesting about the series is you're talking about kind of the spiritual discipline of spending time with Jesus, but you're also talking about margin in our lives. You're talking about, simplicity or contentment. You're talking about, how do we get alone, and, what you're going to preach this week of getting alone and having some silence in this. And so, it's kind of a mixture of a bunch of things. And I don't know, we probably could have really narrowed the focus some, but I just hope in the 3 weeks that everybody can kind of say, hey man, I was able to take some breaks here and there and evaluate different areas of my life. And I hope with maybe this turn of the year, people were thinking, I want to get some new habits, and maybe this will help.
Yeah, that's good. It's good. I think sometimes we're scared of this because we think we're going to be miserable when we do it. And I came across a quote this past week. I don't think this guy's in fact, I know he's not a believer. His name's Thomas Friedman. He's written a few books and he consults with major companies. I know he's consulted with like Pfizer and some other companies, and he works on corporate culture and tries to encourage different practices. And he one of the things he encourages in like corporations is giving, like, not working your people to death, right? Like giving them space to pause. And he actually uses that word. And so he was talking about pausing, and he drew this analogy. He was like, when you think about a machine or a computer, when you hit pause, it stops. And then he said, but like when you hit pause on a human, it starts, right? Like so like pausing for us isn't just a stop to something, it's a start to something. Like the goal is like not that like I'm kind of like the goal is to release something in us, right? To give us a newfound freedom and a start to discovering the good part, right? Like what you talked about on Sunday, and putting away those distractions to where we can really focus on the good parts. And so
good.
Anyway, man, thanks for leading us in this series. Thanks for choosing to do this at this time. I think it's really helpful. Been challenging for me personally, and so thanks, man.
Yeah, you got it. I'm excited for the next couple of weeks, and should be good.
All right, you ready to go get like a
muffaletta,
or I don't know, a Topanod injection, or like
not an injection, no injection.
We won't do that. Okay, all right, it's good. Hey, thanks, man. And
you got it.
We'll see you next time. Thanks for joining us, and we'll see you next time on Epilogue.